Sorry, just a bit of disclaimer. I always like to say that a lot of the audio, images, and video that I use in this video do not belong to me. They belong to the respective owners of said content. I will also say that I am using this stuff under the fair use disclaimer of the copyright disclaimer that was made in 1976, and pretty much I'm just using this for the purposes of criticism. And with that being said, enjoy the video.
In my room, I be my cup, nutted in my sock, nutted in my sock, nutted in my sock, keeping that door lock, bitch, you better knock. When I beat my cup, my room, I be my cup, nutted in my sock, keeping that door lock, bitch, you better knock. When I beat my cup, my room, I be my cup.
So YouTube, it's your boys, to be your nice, whichever you just call me, and welcome to ECP Reads. You guys seem to enjoy the last part, and I'm really happy you guys have been enjoying Eyes in general, and I didn't expect you guys to enjoy it at all, but thank you guys so much for enjoying it as much as you have. I can't wait for you guys to see the ending, but it's going to take a while, so hope you guys enjoy the ride that we're going on. Oh, and also before that, I would like to mention that I know that I'm not really doing the part of review that's in the titles of these videos, I think, but I have a better idea. I plan on doing something called a mega review that I plan on doing after every 5 volumes of Eyes, where I pretty much go in depth over every single thing in the past 5 volumes that I've covered. So pretty much I plan on going in depth and plan on actually reviewing it, okay, actual review on the series. But I feel like it's about time we go ahead and get back into Seto's bedroom. Inside of said room sits Seto, as he's still confused over the fact that there's pretty much naked girls out of his house, only for her to come bursting back in the room after recognizing Seto, telling Seto that it's good to see him again. After a brief quote-unquote Seto moment, he finds out that the girl in front of him is Iski, his ex-girlfriend. After Ichishaka asks her why she is here, she tells him that they can talk about that later because right now she has to go use the bathroom. Hearing this, Ichishaka then remembers that Iori is in the bathroom, but forgets about that because at the very moment she's coming upstairs. Noting that if Iori were to see him and Iski, that it would be very bad, he decides to hide himself and Iski on the balcony. And to be honest, I want a balcony. Luckily, this balcony is connected to another room, only it's locked. Now pinned down with Iski, who still has to pee, they can't do anything. Whilst they're outside, Seto notices Iski's developments and gives her his jacket because it's kind of windy outside. After this, Iski asks Seto why they're sneaking around and realizes it's because of a girl. After a decent second passes, Iski screams because she has to go to the bathroom really badly. She then almost lets it spill, I guess. And after this almost golden shower situation, Seto asks Iski what she is doing in Japan, to which she responds, "Should I not have come back?" Seto, not understanding what she means, states this fact. She then tells Seto that he hasn't greeted her or even shown any happiness towards her return. He only treated her as a nuisance. Seto realizes he was wrong, but then tells Iski that right now he's trying to give it his all to be with his crush, and says he plans on taking Iori out of the house so that Iski can use the bathroom. After hearing this, Iski pretty much calls Seto a punk, which kinda makes no sense, to be honest. Like, legit, I mean, come on, what person would want to be seen by their crush when they are alone with a person in their underwear? But anywho, Seto decided to ignore her, and when he turns around, he sees Iori in the doorway, and wonders how much he heard. X amount of time passes, and Iori decides to go home. Seto then relates to Iski that now he might not be able to get with Iori due to her and probably knowing that he has a crush on her. To which Iski responds, "Wouldn't it be better if she knew?" Seto then tells her he wants to play it safe so he doesn't have to face rejection. Iski, still disagreeing with Seto, tells him to at least take Iori home and then runs to the bathroom. On his way out of the door, he sees Iori coming back so that she can get directions to the train station. After X amount of time walking in silence, Iori tells Seto he should have told her about his girlfriend, which causes Seto to look bamboozled. Isaka tries to defend himself, saying that she isn't his girlfriend, causing Iori to ask, "Then who is she?" Seto tries to think about what he should tell her, but he doesn't need to, because she then asks, "So, she's a girl from grade school?" Seto, after hearing this, without thinking at all, tells her that it's none of her business. Hearing this, looking hurt, Iori apologizes. Seto, now realizing he has messed up yet again, he starts to think, and as he is thinking, he comes across the question of, why does she care about Iski? Which brings him to the conclusion that she might be jealous, causing him to also think that Iori might like him. Still pondering this idea as they walk, Seto almost doesn't notice that they're nearing the train station. He then tries to get courage to tell her how he feels, only for her to tell him that this is far enough. She starts to leave, but before she gets too far, she stops and tells Seto that Iski is waiting for him to tell her how he feels. Clearly, she misunderstood the talk on the balcony. And then she leaves. But in the same page, we see Iori not wearing her usual smile. Ichishaka goes home, and later that night, his family has an official welcome back party for Iski. During said party, we realize she is going to be living with Seto until she finds her own place. And all night Seto hears noise coming from Itsuki's room and has trouble going to sleep. The next morning we see Itsuki in a very casual attire, and she offers to make Seto some breakfast and he accepts. And man, is breakfast looking good. You nice, bro. Okay, man, dang. Back to breakfast. Wait, she burnt it? Well, what is that even supposed to be, eggs? Anywho, Seto, being the absolute Seto he is, tells Itsuki her cooking is trash. After this, she decides to go to sleep. But before she does, Seto suggests that she should stay up so she can get used to the time zone of Japan compared to America. So she decides to do what any cultured teenage female does alone with the home. She just, whatever. She hops on his game console and does not leave his bedroom. After an almost Krillin from Dragon Ball Z amount of losses on a video game, she finally wins and hopes Seto will congratulate her. And to nobody's surprise, he doesn't. Getting irritated, Itsuki leaves his room to go to sleep. But before she does, Seto asks her what all that noise she was making last night was. And so we finally enter her room, and what we see is an honestly cool room full of sculptures she made herself. Seto mentally questions why she's into sculptures, and then remembers something from years ago. In this memory, a young Itsuki makes a bust of Seto's head, and to be honest, it looks awesome. Young Ishitaka also seems to like it, complimenting her, making little Itsuki smile. Now in the present, feeling like he inspired Itsuki, he decides to congratulate her, only for her to tell him that her old neighbor got her into it, making Ishitaka take back his kindness. After a little looking around the room, Seto notices something with a tarp over it. He tries to remove it, only for Itsuki to redirect his attention to an awesome and very detailed mask she made. Seto is pretty impressed, but since he is Seto, he asks her why she has such a boyish hobby, to which Itsuki chokes him and punches him. But in between punches, she is yelling about
You got knocked the fuck out!
how this entire time he's only been negative towards her, to which Ishitaka responds saying she is selfish because she disappeared from his life and then popped back up. He then goes on to say that he won't take abuse from someone who forgot about their friends. I know the last part might not make sense to you guys, so allow me to give you context. Earlier in the kitchen when Seto talked shit about the eggs, Itsuki mentioned a promise of marriage that Seto can't remember. After hearing that Seto forgot, she decides to mess with him by making him think she is sad. Seto tries to console her, only for Itsuki to tell him she was joking and had so much fun in America she forgot all about him. Now that you have context, let's get back to the story. Seto, still on a roll after getting angry, tells her that he has said nice things to her, referring to the bust that Itsuki made, which surprises Itsuki. Seto then asks her if she still has it because she said she would treasure it, to which she responds lightheartedly, asking if he really took that seriously, going even further to mimic Seto and saying, "That was back in grade school." Seto remarks that she is just as bad as he is, slamming the door as he leaves, which causes the tarp in the room to fall to the floor, revealing the bust that Itsuki had made so long ago. Itsuki calls Seto a
ねえ、瀬戸くん。もっと近くに座った方が。
いいよ。別にここで。
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
The next day, Seto starts to head to school, but before he can leave the house, he talks to Itsuki, and before he can even leave that situation, she kisses him on the cheek. Seto leaves embarrassed and goes to school, and upon arrival, he meets up with Teratani. To be honest, we haven't seen him in a while. He then tells Ishitaka that he has a hickey on his face as a joke, but Seto took it so seriously that Teratani thought he might have had one, meaning that he probably lost his virginity. And after a couple seconds of pure hilarity, in comes Iori asking Teratani where he went yesterday. She also mentions that a lot of stuff happened, causing the Teratani to think that Seto really did lose his virginity, only for Seto to cry, reassuring Teratani that he still is a virgin. After leaving their lockers, some guys walk up to Seto and Teratani and ask them if they would like to join the Iori Yoshizuki fan club. Seto almost joins, but Teratani puts a stop to that and drags Seto away. Now in class, Ishitaka explains everything that happened in the last 2 days, and as Seto reflects on everything, he feels that he and Iori are getting farther apart due to her getting more and more popular. But Teratani reassures him that there is still hope for him and Iori. We then cut to a scene of Seto leaving the bathroom, thinking about how he could tell Iori he and Itsuki are in a couple, and then he sees her surrounded by a bunch of her fans. And after feeling thoroughly out of place, Seto tries to leave, but before he can, Iori sees him and breaks free from the crowd and runs away with him. They stop somewhere in the school on the stairs, and after X amount of time passes, Seto says, "Wow, a fan club?" To which Iori responds she doesn't want it. A few seconds later, Seto mentions that those guys might think that they're together now, but Iori almost instantly shuts that idea down. and says that she doesn't want Seto's girlfriend to hate her. Seto, hearing this, sees an opportunity to tell Yuri the truth, but before he can do this, who do you think he sees at the bottom of the stairs? Is it A, Teratani, B, Seto's mom, C, Itsuki, or D, the real Yuri? Comment your answer down below. If you got it right, congratulations. You can put a link to your YouTube channel in the comment section down below. But if you got it wrong, you have to subscribe if you already haven't, and also leave a like on the video. By the way, hit the bell icon, or do all three, it's your call. So anyways, the answer is C, Itsuki. If you got it right, congratulations, cool. But if you got it wrong, welcome to the EJD fam. Now back to the story. And then we continue after Seto notices Itsuki, and he decides he should just move elsewhere before she sees him and Yuri. Only for Teratani, who just so happens to be giving Itsuki a tour, to notice Seto and reveal his and Yuri's location. After being discovered, the group decides to get drinks, and while Seto and Teratani were alone, Teratani mentions how he feels Itsuki is very hot, causing Seto to ask about his crush, only for it to be revealed to us that Teratani has been rejected by his crush. Now a moment of silence for Teratani. Okay, I think that's enough for pity for Teratani, and so does Teratani, because he has a foolproof plan of getting with Itsuki. And it goes a little something like this. Go ahead, Teratani. Okay, first you stand up. Alright, then you look her in the eyes. Alright, man. And finally, you tell her, I like you. And that is the foolproof get a girl strategy. Teratani? Yes, Inayas? You just did all those steps. Wait, what? Yuri asks Seto if he's okay with this, and finally is able to tell Yuri the truth, and so he does, stating that him and Itsuki are just childhood friends, even asking Itsuki to support. She responds that Seto feels that way, but she on the other hand is in love with Ichitaka, leaving Ichitaka and Yuri stunned. Seto, not believing her, asks if she is joking. When she says that she isn't, he becomes visibly and vocally upset, and tells her she should not lie. She also gets angry and tells him to learn to take a joke, and at that moment the intercom calls for Yuri and Seto. Taking this as a sign to leave, Seto dismisses Itsuki and leaves with Yuri. And on the stairs, he complains about Itsuki's joke, causing Yuri to state her disbelief that Itsuki was joking at all, mentioning that Seto may have hurt her feelings. As Seto absorbs this information, they begin to practice the Nin Baori. Later that day, Seto decides to apologize to Itsuki, but when he gets home, she isn't in her room, which causes him to reflect on the attitude towards Itsuki that he's had for a while, and decides he really should apologize. Then, for some reason, Seto goes to the bathroom. Yeah, you get the picture. After X amount of seconds, Itsuki opens the door and calls Seto a perv. Something he doesn't try to deny. Instead, he asks her if she would like to go to a party happening at school tomorrow. And a lot of you are probably like, nigga, what party? And the answer is quite simple. It is a party that Yuri and Seto practice the Nin Baori for. Now back to Itsuki, who gets happy to be invited and accepts the invitation, going to her room soon after. Later that night, we see Seto having a dream about what Itsuki said at school, and then goes to sleep. The next morning, Ichitaka and Itsuki talk before Seto leaves for school, and during said talk, Seto tells Itsuki the time of the party, and she affirms with a smile that she will be going to the party. And with that, Seto takes his leave. And so we move on to the school, where Yuri asks Teratani where Seto is. And he says that he is waiting outside for Itsuki, and we find out on the next page that he is. But I kind of get the feeling that Itsuki isn't coming. Since Itsuki is late, Seto decides to call home, and when his mom picks up the phone, Ichitaka asks his mom about Itsuki, to which she responds, "Oh, you didn't know? Itsuki's already gone," and hangs up the phone to handle some business, leaving Seto full of questions, including but not limited to, what does she mean by gone? Unfortunately, he isn't given time to ponder this, because Yuri comes to get Seto for the performance. We cut to a scene of Yuri getting ready, and man, is it getting hot in here, man? Like, Teratani, man. Hey, yo, Seto, bro, is it hot in here? Oh, sorry, I forgot. Seto isn't really conscious of the current situation due to the fact that he is worried about Itsuki, but he comes back to his senses when it's time to go on the stage. And while he and Yuri are alone behind the curtain, she asks if Seto is nervous, and he tells her he isn't. Yuri goes on to say that after this, the Eyes group is going to be disbanded, stating that the idea of it ending makes her sad. Seto goes over what this information means in his head, but he isn't given any time to worry because the show starts. And as he and Yuri get into position, Seto decides to focus on the time with Yuri that he has that he may never be able to experience ever again. And the students liked it. No, they fucking didn't at all, which made the teacher happy. And he was so happy, in fact, he offered to take Seto and Yuri and Teratani and this chick whose name I can't remember to go get sushi. And this makes everyone happy. And even Seto stops thinking about Itsuki, even if only for a few seconds. But when he does start thinking about Itsuki, he remembers his mom's words. She said she's gone already, and not that she had left for the party already. As some time passes, Seto and the others start to leave, but they come to find out it's raining hard outside. Teratani suggests they go buy umbrellas and go get sushi, but Seto decides to head home to look for Itsuki. But when he gets there, all that's left is a box, the futon she slept on, and a note which read, "Goodbye, Ichi." Seeing this reminds Seto of the day she left 5 years ago, without a single word. He walks through the house and even to the patio and reflects over how badly he treated her, and how that might be the reason for she's gone. Man, Seto, I'm gonna miss Itsuki. But it's cool, man. I know what will cheer you up. How about me and you go watch some So it turns out Itsuki just moved a couple blocks away and left a note as a prank. But even though he is mad at Itsuki, he is happy that she's still around. Now that that's over, fast forward a good 2 months and some change, and it's summertime. And where do we find Isako on this hot day? Inside of Itsuki's hot apartment. And by the way, did I mention that it's hot today? If I didn't, don't worry, it comes up a lot. Speaking of it being hot, the reason Itsuki invited Seto over was so that they could buy an AC for her apartment. On the way to the appliance store, Itsuki brings up the idea of going on to a trip with Seto. But Seto brings up the fact that they can't afford it, and coincidentally there's a raffle at the appliance store for an all-expenses paid trip to Izu. So Itsuki buys an air conditioner and wins the trip out of sheer luck. On the way home, Isako comes up with the idea of her going by herself or with someone else. But the only problem with that is that she doesn't really know anyone besides Seto. After Seto starts to feel bad, we hear a call from across the street, and it's the one and only Teratani. He was actually on his way to Seto's house to discuss the summer plans, and then Iori shows up and joins the conversation. Teratani says he wants everyone to get together the day after tomorrow, which just so happens to be the day of this trip Seto and Itsuki just won. Realizing this, Seto states that him and Itsuki can't do it because they have a trip to go on, and that day. And that surprised Itsuki, but Teratani isn't all too pleased about the news and looks at the location of the trip. And after some seconds pass, Itsuki grabs the tickets and gives one to Iori, telling her to go with Seto. Iori didn't know how to feel about it at first, but after some convincing for Teratani, she decides to go. And now, on the day of the trip, Seto has decided to tell Iori how he feels. He meets up with her and gets on a bullet train to Izu. When they arrive, they see a room, but there's only one futon and 2 people. I'm gonna let y'all do the math. Iori decides to take a shower, which leaves Seto alone in the room. And as he sits down, he thinks over the idea to confess. While Seto was lost in thought, Iori calls his name and walks up to him. She shows her face, and we see that it's actually Itsuki. Turns out Teratani's family owns the bed and breakfast that they are staying at, opening the doors for 4 days and 3 nights of fun. Well, that is the end of Volume 2, and as you guys can see, this video has been held back for a long minute. But it's here now. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe today if you're new, and hit the bell icon to be alerted about videos like these. And make sure to check out my other content on this channel. But without further ado, have a good one. Check it out.